Hey guys, so today we have this. It's a Toro Power Clear, 21-inch clearing path, electric start. It comes with an RTAC 2-cycle 141cc 4 horsepower engine. Problem with this little blower, it surges while it's running. So we're going to run the carb, get it all cleaned, and get it to stop surging. Seems to be some hardware missing here, and some hardware missing here. Looks like it's a Toro model 38584, but I can't say I've ever heard of RTEC engines before. This might be a bit interesting to work on. I'm not sure what year this was built, but if I'm reading that correctly, it looks like it was built in May of 2009. Alright guys, let's crack into it and see if we can't get this thing running again. And look at that. It even comes with electric starter. This might make it a little bit easier to start. Alright guys, let's crack into this beast. Let's get the panel open for the carb. Looks like a Phillips. Also looks like you could use a number 2 Robertson, so square tip. So if you want to Canadianize this, you could and use a Canadian driver. So yeah, as I said, you could use a square tip in there if you wanted. Phillips, number 2, or square number 2. Ooh, lots of oil down here. Wonder if she's leaking. Choke flap. Come off. Nope. Okay, that's fine. Let's pinch off this fuel line. So, Mr. Pinch.
Yes, I am here. Would you like me pinch?
Yes, I'd like you to pinch a fuel line.
I love pinching fuel line. I pinch fuel line.
Pinch. Thanks, Mr. Pinch. All right, so the fuel line's pinched off. Let's disconnect it from the carburetor. Okay, come here, Yellow. If Yellow can get the fuel line off. That just doesn't want to seem to get the clamp off. If all else fails, pair of vice grips. There we go. Vice grips works, but the actual tool for the fuel line clamps didn't. What a pain in the ass. All right, Yellow, see if you can get that fuel line off. There we go. Just get the carburetor off. Looks like 2 Phillips head. Well, they're long studs. 1 and number 2. Looks like it's leaking some fuel out. That's not good. Wonder if the needle and seat is bad. See if I can get some light. Find out why the carburetor won't come off. Maybe it's just fused on. Wonder if I just got to beat it off a little bit. Yep, just need to beat it off a little bit. Okay. So where's the governor linkage? How is that hooked up? Let's see. Where is it hooked up? That's this guy here. How's it attached? Let's see. It's usually a Z-bend of some... Yep, there it is. There's the Z-bend. I found it. There. And I'm pretty sure that's just the primer line. So let's get that tube off. Shouldn't be any fuel in there. Yep, just the primer line. So there we go. There's the carburetor. Let's pop this open and find out what's going on with it. Now, before we get to the carburetor, I want to do a little segment that I want to call Responding to Comments. So let's see. We've got this one. It looks like it's from a Leonard Omegot YN1TI. Mikeanic. You've not learning ed nothing. Oh, well, that's interesting. So apparently I've not learning ed nothing. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but if they're saying that I've not learned nothing, then you're right. I have not learned nothing. I've learned a fair bit. Oh, here's one we have from a Joseph Pistachio 5675. And that's from this video. In fact, the next 3 are from this video. It says, I don't know how much experience you have with these type of equipment, but you didn't have to change the coil to fix what was broken on it. You just had to change the spark plug boot that attaches to the spark plug. The coil wire you found on the spark plug is not from the ignition wire, but it was part of the spark plug boot, the plug. You could have just changed the spark plug boot instead of changing the whole ignition coil. Yes, I know that. However, I had a spare ignition coil, and it would save me the trouble of sitting there to replace the boot and having to order parts and wait for them, where I could just pop a used coil on that I know was good. And guess what? It was good. Now we have another one from Joseph Pistachio 5675. Also, you put the coil back in upside down, which the guy before you did. It matters which way you install the coil. The wire that connects to the coil is supposed to be facing the bottom of the mower, not the top. So let's see if we go back to this video. All right, so let's take a look at this. And because we are replacing it, we're going to completely remove it. Well, we remove both screws. Well, that's interesting. So the wire from the original was on the bottom. So let's see how I reinstalled it. Switch. Oh, look, the wire's on the bottom.
That's 2 1/4-inch bolts in.
Interesting.
And we'll reseat them down.
So you see that it's supposed to be facing the bottom of the mower, not the top. So if you watch the same video I did, you'll notice that the wire on the coil is on the bottom of the coil, not the top of the coil. So I installed the coil correctly. And then finally, the last comment by Joseph Pistachio 5675. He likes me that much that he had to comment 3 times. So let's see, what does he say? It is acting like it has a broken flywheel key because the timing is off. The timing is off. Do you mean this part when I was trying to start the mower without a blade? But the timing problem is probably because of the upside down ignition coil you have on it. If you flip the coil around, the mower will probably start. Actually, the coil was correct, as we pointed out previously, but just in case, here's just a screenshot. And as you can see, it is on correctly. The reason why the mower will not start has nothing to do with timing. Timing is probably fine. I mean, if you want, we can re-inspect it and I can show you that the flywheel and flywheel key is all lined up properly. The issue is the fact that there's no blade. See, the flywheel is a lightweight flywheel. It is specifically there just for ignition timing on a lawnmower. On any other machine, such as, say, a pressure washer or a generator or a snowblower, those engines have a heavier flywheel so that when you start it, it takes the momentum. But on a lawnmower, it's a lightweight flywheel specifically designed just for ignition timing, and the blade acts as the heavyweight the heavy counterweight as the flywheel to keep the engine spinning. Without a blade, unfortunately, when you pull it over to try to start it, it can pull the cord out of your hand. And that is just because there's no weight to keep the engine going. That's all it is. It's not timing. It's literally the fact that there's no weight to keep the engine spinning. But you can get it to start without a blade. Absolutely, the easiest way is you use a drill. All right, guys, that's it for these comments. If you have any other comments that you want to make and you want them read out online, then by all means post. And if you see anything that I've done wrong, please, by all means, post about it. Just hope that you're correct, because I will call you out in the videos. All right, guys, back to the video.
Hey, look at that, guys. Look what I found. A red subscribe button. If you made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Comment below. I love to read your comments, and I try to reply to as many of them as I can, especially the early ones. All right, guys, back to the video.
All right, let's get this bowl off. Just using that to stand it up. 3/8. I think it's a 3/8. Nope, it's a 10 mil.
As of course it is. Okay, so 10 mil. Yeah, so it looks like there's some debris in the bottom of this bowl. But aside from that, everything looks good. Fuel looks good. It's nice and blue. Let's see. All right, so we got an unscrewable jet. Pin doesn't want to come out. Yep, that pin doesn't want to come out. Let me get a pair of pliers. See if I can slowly wrench it out, and if not, then it'll be staying in. So first we'll try with some vice grips. Yeah, it just doesn't want to come out. Well, I don't want to monkey around with it too much then. Guess I'll have to work with it this way. First, let me spray off some of this debris with carb spray. Clean this up a little. Spray up the jet. Spray out these jets. Spray up the middle again. Not seeing anything in there. See how it comes up through the jet. Comes up pretty good through there. Let's try picking it out. Try a smaller pick. Too bad I can't get this off. I gotta clean this though. You get a small brush. Spray it with some carb spray. Try brushing it off. Right, maybe I'll use a Scotch-Brite pad. Yeah, let's see if it works. Yep, the needle seems to work just fine. Go spray out the bowl now. Just use a Scotch-Brite pad. Make sure everything's nice and clean in here. And I throw it on the floor. Today's wise choice. Wow, that carb spray is just demolishing the gloves. All right, let's get this thing back together and get it back on the blower and see if it works. If not, then we'll have to go in a little bit deeper on this. Right, so let me get this reinstalled on the blower and I'll see you outside. Okay, we got it outside and there's a little bit of wet snow out here, so we can sort of give it a test, but it's not the best sort of snow to really be blowing anyway. It's really heavy, it's really wet. Okay, so the chute rotates very easy. How well does it pivot? It pivots fairly easily, so that's good. Alright, so I guess that's turning it on. So we'll turn it on. Now he says the electric start works. I think there's a problem with the starter. Doesn't sound like the Bendix is engaging. So that's rather unfortunate. So I guess we'll just give it the old version full start. Okay, so she's still surging. I guess I'm going to have to go through that carb a little bit more in depth. Right. Okay. So I guess let's get it inside and we'll try it again. We'll see about going a little more in depth in that carb. Try that again. We'll see if it can actually blow some snow. Supposedly it can. Okay, so I got a little more in depth. I took it completely apart this time. I've got the choke off, which is here. There's the float bowl, and there's the choke mechanism itself. There's the gaskets, the float bowl, and the needle. So we'll get the needle back on the float. And then as far as the carburetor goes, let's pick out all these individual jets. And it was a little big. There, we picked out the emulsion tube. So I'll drop it before I slide it back in. I'll just use yellow to push it up. Next, we'll take the main jet and we'll pick that one out. Not with that pick though. Seems a little big. One more in between. There we go. If this doesn't work, then I'm going to have to open up this jet a little bit. Oh, look at that. There is some debris. A little bit of debris. So yeah, if this doesn't work, then I'm going to have to open this jet a little bit to allow more fuel to flow. Okay, so let's put the main jet back in. My flat screwdriver. I'll do that again. We'll get the needle back on. And we'll drop it in. Come on, pin. Just doesn't want to go back in that way. Or that way. Let's try this way. Maybe it's tapered, only goes one way. I don't know. There it goes. Give it a couple taps, see if I can get it through. Starting to come through. I guess the best it's gonna get. Okay, so we'll get the bowl back on. Now we'll get the choke back in. Nope, I've got it in upside down. There we go. That's better. Now it's in properly. Okay, now the choke lever itself. I don't like how loose that feels. Okay, now we'll get the throttle in.
Seems to only go in this way. Interesting. Okay, let's flip that 180 degrees. So one thing I just found out is when I took this throttle plate off, it wasn't through the throttle control. It was actually on top of it. And, well, I just slid it through. I'm going to put the screw back in. You know, that could have been the simple problem to begin with. I wonder if it was. I'm not saying it was, but it's possible. Either way, it seems okay now. All right, so let me get this back on the snowblower. Take it outside and we'll give it a try again. All right, see you soon. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about using the electric start. I'm just going to turn it on. Give it a few primes. And let's start it over. Well, a lot thickens with this one. I guess we're going to be getting a little bit more involved with this beast. Why is it surging? I mean, one way is I can try adjusting that main jet, open it up a bit, and then try it again, and then we can see. So maybe I'll do that. I'll take it back inside, try opening up the main jet again, try widening it with those files, see if we can open it just a little bit, and then we'll try it again and see what happens. Alright, let's go on back in. Alright, back inside we go. Alright, back outside. I've opened up the carburetor jet a little bit. I filed it open. So let's see if that's made a difference. Turn it on. Bunch of primes. Spark plug. I didn't reconnect the spark plug. Bet you I didn't reconnect the spark plug. Okay, now that that catastrophe's taken care of, I've got the spark plug back on. Let's try this again. see. Start it up again. The only thing I can think of is maybe a new carburetor. It's just constantly surging. Now, I did take apart this engine and I did inspect the piston and I did see scoring on the piston. And that concerned me because I took the exhaust off and I saw it on the exhaust side. Now, if this has been surging a while, so I wonder if that could be one of the reasons why it's still surging now. Because it overheated, because running lean is going to get too hot. I don't know. I'm going to have to call the customer. I'm going to have to ask them a few questions to find out if it's been surging for a while, if it's always been doing it ever since they got it, or what's been going on with it. All right, guys. I guess to be continued. Well, I'm guessing I should at least show you the piston. So I'm going to take this red cover off, and I'm going to take the red cover off, and then the exhaust off, and I'll take the camera in for a closer inspection so you can see the condition of this piston. So normally you would have at least 4 of these Phillips head screws, and you'd have 2 more in the front, but those 2 are missing. So first, we need to pull off these Phillips head screws. Next, we need to remove this fuel cap. Then we remove these 3 bolts, which I believe they're 3/8, but you can also use a number 2 Phillips. That'll remove the chute. Next, we need to remove this ring, and it's held on by 1 Phillips screw because the chute is also holding it on. So now that ring comes off, and now we can remove the red cover. So next we have 2 half-inch bolts or 13 mil. I'm going to put the fuel cap back on because there is still fuel in it. I'm going to have to drain it. I'm not sure exactly what we're doing with this at present. I think I'm going to get a price on the piston and cylinder and I guess basically a rebuild kit and find out how much that'll be, and we'll go from there. And if he does decide that is the route he wants to take, well, then that's a future video. Now, in between the engine and the exhaust, there is a gasket. So if we go in, let me wash it out. There's the piston. As you can see, it is really badly scored. I'm going to take the plug off. I'm just going to slowly rotate it. But as you can see back there, if I can get it to wash out more. One second, let me get a light. There, now hopefully, if I wash it out more, there we go. Now we can get a view of the back side of that cylinder. And yeah, the back side of that cylinder is scored as well. I wonder if this machine was straight gassed at some point. Because look at that. That definitely says that this was straight gassed. That is really bad. I'm almost positive at one point this machine definitely was straight gas. So it's definitely going to need a new top end if this thing's going to be redone. That is really unfortunate. Really unfortunate indeed. So there you go, guys. As I said, that cylinder, that piston, it does not look good. Pretty sure that there is the running problem for this engine. And so opening the jet, it just allows more fuel through, but the damage is already done. all that's going to happen is this is just going to keep getting worse and worse. It's going to keep surging up until the point that either the connecting rod will blow or it'll just burn itself out and lose compression, and that'll be that, because all it'll be basically 100% blow by. Either way, I'll keep updated. If this becomes another video, then it becomes another video. If not, I'll make a community post and say that this engine and machine are done. Maybe in the future, if he says, you know what, I'm not going to bother, you can keep it, maybe then I'll consider redoing the engine. That might make a good future video. But at present, that's it. We're ending the video here. So I'll see you guys in the next one.